attitude that permeated certain populations around town. Vi glanced at the unhelpful chart again. She took a deep breath to attempt a mental scan to see if she could pick up any non-humans in the vicinity. Between exhaustion and blood hunger, focusing to do an effective scan was difficult. Crystal interrupted her scan by touching her arm. She flinched while the tech said, "You going to see it?" "I suppose so. Don't get bitten. The last thing we need is the nightmare of phoning animal control and rabies quarantining a dog tonight. Let's wrap this up quickly. I should have been on my way to an event 20 minutes ago, and I've still got to change out of scrubs. Grab a muzzle." A 30-ish guy slouching on the client bench greeted her in the exam room. His odd, golden eyes tracked her entry. With an abrupt movement, he pushed at his dark hair and sat up straight. The short, choppy strands were too heavily pomaded into stylish disarray to dare alter direction. At his feet, a supersized black shepherd mix scrutinized her with eyes a shade too pale blue for natural dog irises. One sniff, and her pulse skyrocketed. Werewolf. What were they doing here? Only the king was rumored to have eyes as light in color as this animal. This couldn't be him. Not in her ER. Her client unfolded his over 6-foot muscular frame to stand, forcing her to look up. She wasn't a shrimp at 5'6", but he had many inches on her. His move to an onlooker may appear respectful, but he meant to intimidate her. He extended a strong hand. "Eric Wurst." She glared at his hand. A public handshake was a symbolic truce. Doing so during this time of war was treason. Crystal might not be a vampire, but under a vamp's persuasion, she'd tell. Her father's minions checked up on Vi on a regular basis. They mind-wiped whomever they spoke with, but he'd find out about this. Crystal sucked in a loud breath, clearly astonished at her rude reluctance. Crap. Eric's mouth curled into a smile at her dilemma. Vi lifted her lip, exposing her half-mast, elongated canine. They both might be the product of centuries of evolution, but fundamentally, vamps and werewolves remained primal species. Everything about both of them was engineered to make them effective predators who valued strength. "I'm Dr. Scarpa," she said for Crystal's benefit. The wolves had known her identity well before they stepped into the building. She gripped Eric's hand in the briefest of clasps. She and Mr. Vorst shared a moment of unspoken understanding. Nothing in front of the human. Her father's threat from years ago echoed in her brain. Never get involved with them. The penalty for violating the edict had been a chilling "or else." Those 2 words implied death by something guaranteed to be prolonged and painful. Although she did have a get-out-of-jail-free card. Not that she'd ever put her powerful fiancé between herself and her father. She'd come out on the crap end of that plea for help. "Mr. Vorst, tell me what happened to your dog." Vi gazed at the useless piece of paper that was the dog's chart. She pushed aside unease to draw on professionalism. "Let us speak alone, Dr. Scarpa." He spoke with a thick Eastern European accent. Vi glanced skyward as if a deity would swoop down and save her. "Crystal, would you excuse us, please?" "Okay, Dr. Scarpa, but I'll be right outside if you need help." She placed the blue nylon muzzle on the counter by the exam room sink on her way out. The second the door swung shut, Vi backed away from the wolves, putting as much air as possible between her and them. She looked at her watch. Her stomach lurched. "What does Ambrose Di Foco think of you still working and not preparing for a life of subservience and reproduction?" Eric's gaze fell to her ring-free left hand. Ambrose had presented her with an engagement ring, but she refused to wear the ostentatious emerald at work. The complicated landmine of her relationship with her fiancé was none of Eric's business. She addressed the bleeding wolf on the floor. "Why are you here? This is not protocol. If you need help, you go through your own channels." Like Roman, the werewolf's regional primary care.